told you where the boundary line is. We don't mind you filming, but you need to be in off.
Who are you guys? Sergeant.
Come on.
Okay.
Then walk then.
There was no need to get physical. I'm walking away. You can stop touching me now because I'm walking away. You can stop touching me now. Sergeant 1096.
That's me.
I am walking away and you're still touching me.
You're not walking away though.
I am. Am I not walking? Am I not walking away?
Turn and face that way.
You're a fucking dickhead, mate. That's what you are. Off. Tell me not to swear. I can swear over you if I want to. There's no need to push me like that.
We've told you where the boundary is.
Yeah?
Get out.
And I'm walking back. Why the f*** are you pushing me like that for? You absolute bellend.
Because of your attitude.
You're a
So
bellend.
move over there.
You're a bellend.
Get off the ramp.
Move over there, please.
You're a bellend.
For emergency vehicles, get off the ramp.
There's no yellow boxes saying I can't block it. You're a bellend.
Move out the way.
I'm quite capable of moving out the way of vehicles by myself.
Move out the way.
When there's a vehicle coming, I will move out the way of the vehicle.
Vehicle coming. Move.
Yeah, it goes up left hand side, doesn't
Move
it?
out the way now.
We've told you where the boundary is.
Come on then.
Don't act like a knob.
You're the one pushing me.
Yes.
I know I'm on the pavement and I'm on here now and you still pushed me. You still pushed me.
Right, don't come on.
You're a bellend.
Before he even identify himself, he lays hands on Proletariat and starts pushing him back like a criminal, completely ignoring the code of ethics that requires officers to use communication and restraint before force. When Proletariat calmly says he's walking away, that should have been the end of it. But instead, the sergeant keeps shoving him, crossing both a legal and professional line. And when Proletariat, clearly frustrated, swears out of shock, the sergeant responds with, "Don't act like a knob." A sergeant is supposed to set the standard, not sink below it. His job was to de-escalate, identify himself, and act with respect. Instead, he showed the public exactly what abuse of authority looks like. A man using his badge as a license to bully.
Who's your inspector? What's your collar number there?
1096.
Yours?
95,
1995. I'm trying to read your collar number. You're a bellend, both you. Sergeant's my ass. You wait till your inspector gets hold of this. Dickhead. Is there an inspector on duty at the station today?
There'll be many inspectors inside.
Yeah. Well, I've just what I believe to be assaulted by two sergeants. So if you can get an inspector out, I'd love to report that to them. I'm happy to show them the footage. There was nothing saying that it's private property, no unauthorised access or anything like that.
Of course, do you want? I'll talk plainly.
Yeah.
I won't muck
cool.
around. Okay. There are different people who audit and things like that.
Sure.
Sometimes people try and push buttons like that, so I'll just speak plainly.
Yeah, that's cool. No worries.
I get there's nothing there. Yeah, we've got a simple barrier. There's no fence in there. I can appreciate that. And let you know at the moment now, this is private property. I'm sure you can appreciate we do have to keep areas secure, as secure as can be. It's not very secure without a fence there, but that's
well, exactly. I mean, there's a big old footpath coming up from the grass verge there.
In fairness, I'd say you probably do know this is private property because it is a police station. Okay?
I mean, everything in the UK is private property, though, really, isn't it?
That plainclothes officer's logic is legally meaningless. Just because something looks like it belongs to the police doesn't automatically make it private land. If there's no barrier, no fence, and no signage stating restricted access, then under law, it's treated as publicly accessible space. The public has an implied right to be there until that access is clearly revoked. And simply being outside a police station doesn't erase that right. The officer's claim of, it's private because it's a police station shows how little he understands about public accountability. Police property isn't a fortress. It's funded by taxpayers and open for public interaction at designated points, without visible signs or physical barriers. Proletariat was well within his rights to stand there and film.
I'm not a civil lawyer and all that, so I'm not going to get that. I can't really have you around here, if don't mind, okay? It's nothing because there's not hiding anything, but ultimately it's a working yard. There are vehicles that will fly out here responding to immediate
Sure. As soon as I hear blue light sirens, I'll be out of the way.
Yeah,
no,
I can't have you here anyway because it is a secure area.
In the meantime, I'm waiting at the moment. I'm going to get every single vehicle, private, personal, whatever it is, coming in and out. It's going to be included on my footage.
But then if you could do that, could you do that from outside the private property?
I mean, to be fair, the sergeants actually said I was fine there. That's where they physically pushed me to. And even when I was on there, they continued to push me.
If you come, I'll show you. As far as I know, and again...
So the sergeants actually said that this sign here was the demarcation of the property, which clearly it's not, because it just says pedestrians to use front entrance, that's exit.
Yeah, no, that'll obviously be for notifying people who want to come speak to us where to go.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no demarcation. That's not a demarcation of your boundary.
What I was going to say is normally I use the tree line. Okay, there is no physical line. There is no like it's that imaginary line. There is going to be a line somewhere which denotes the property boundary. If the sergeant has said it here, I'm not going to argue. I'd naturally say I think the tree line forms a kind of a natural.
Now, looking at the sign, it completely exposes how wrong the sergeant was from the start. It doesn't say no public access or restricted area. It simply directs pedestrians to use the front entrance. That's a guidance notice, not a legal restriction. The sergeant treated it like a no-entry order, when in reality, there's nothing on that sign that removes the public's right to be there. This proves Proletariat was standing in a publicly accessible space, and the sergeant had no lawful authority to lay hands on him or force him back. If the police want an area to be off limits, the signage must clearly state so, backed by legislation or bylaws.
Then fine. Really. If the sergeant says that, I'm not going to argue.
But then the sergeant also saw me stood there on the very corner of the thing and said nothing either about me being there. He was literally watching me from the window for a good 5 minutes.
Do you know the sergeant's name?
1096 and 1995 were their collar numbers.
Were they a response sergeant?
They came out of that building up there, whatever it is up there.
If you don't mind, if you just stay here with my colleague, I'm going to go and speak to the sergeant up there and make sure that that's correct, that he's told me where to, he's told you to stand. Yeah. Because, like I say, I normally use the tree line because it kind of makes a natural barrier. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I understand that it does create a sort of natural barrier, but unless you have these to show me where the boundary is and there's nothing to stop me accessing, there's nothing to say where your property starts and where it ends. No, so there's nowhere for you to realistically say, this is our property, you can't be standing here, you can only stand here.
But let's try and work together and be reasonable, because
at the end of the day, you are being reasonable, and I do appreciate that, but because of the behaviour of your sergeant, I'm not going to be reasonable.
That tree line as a barrier comment perfectly sums up the delusion at play here. Imaginary boundaries enforced with real authority. The plainclothes officer is literally inventing a rule on the spot, trying to turn landscaping into law features like trees. Or curbs mean nothing legally unless they're backed by clear signage fences, ing, or physical demarcation that signals private land. Without that, the public's implied right of access still applies. If you can't physically identify the limit of your property, then you have no authority to claim someone's trespassing on it. It's that simple. This exchange showed the stark difference between knowledge and guesswork. Proletariat relied on facts while the officer relied on a tree-in. It's embarrassing.
I'm not saying I'm going to be rude to you, but in terms of negotiating where I can and cannot stand, I'm not going to negotiate that with you based on their behaviour.
I understand
not
that.
on yours, and I want you to understand that.
So I'm upfront and clear with you, just so I am fair with you, okay? I'm going to go and clarify that, all right? And if they've said, wherever, I will have to enforce a level of, like, if we say this is where the barrier is, I'll have to ask you to stand on the other side of that.
Okay, and if you force me to move physically to a place, I will check where your boundary is with the local council, and if you have moved me to a place that you have no right to move me physically, you will be liable for reprimand under that. I will be filing. They're already getting complaints of it, IOPC. And until you're 100% sure where your boundary is, regardless of what your sergeant says, because unless they can prove where your boundary is, you can't move somebody physically.
And
you can't.
I'm trying to be reasonable, okay? So they might know.
Just let my colleague double check and we'll come back.
I totally get your point, all right? And that's why I'm going to go and do everything I can and try and check with them, okay? I get what you're saying there, and like I say, all I'm asking is to try and be reasonable, meet each other.
And again, I'm saying it's not because of you, because you have been reasonable, but because of them, I'm not negotiating.
Just bear with me, all right? Okay.
I don't negotiate with assholes.
The plainclothes officer openly admits he doesn't actually know where the property line is. Yet, he's already decided he'll force Proletariat behind it once a sergeant gives a nod. That's not policing. That's improvising. You can't enforce a rule that hasn't been established. If they truly believed it was private land, they'd already have that boundary mapped out, signed, and legally documented. Proletariat's response was spot on. He made it clear that it's not about what they think. It's about what can be proven. The council, not the police, is responsible for defining property boundaries and public access points. If the officers can't point to a legal map, sign, or order restricting entry, then it's public full stop.
Yeah, the sergeant has said that he's told you, and he is saying, like, so the grass verge, not onto the road, please, and no further past this blue sign. Is that okay?
Maybe.
Okay, on that then, right, I hear you saying maybe. At the moment, I'll leave you here, alright? Please don't do that, alright? Got no problem with you filming in public, saying that's public, okay? Got to understand that's a working yard. There's also sensitive information. There's people here, whether victims or suspects, that we can't have you going and seeing. Normal as a member of the public, that is private, okay? Please stay here, okay. Alright?
I mean, again, for you to raise with your higher-ups, I would strongly suggest you get a more physical barrier, fencing.
I 100% agree, but then the police, what are they keeping out? They're putting fences up, and that's at the lovely taxpayers' expense.
I agree with fences being around these places.
But that's the truth of it. No, to be fair, I think it should, because then it denotes it, alright? But I'm now telling you, mate, so that's pretty clear. The sergeants also echoed that, so you know, yeah? So you're saying maybe, but then if you then go past that maybe, that's you willfully then
trespassing.
I get that you've had issues with them, okay? But then that's for your complaint.
If the police truly want to prevent the public from entering, put up a clear physical barrier. That's how every other organization defines private land. It's practical, it's lawful, and it removes any ambiguity. The officer even agrees at first, proving he knows proletariat is right, but then immediately dodges accountability by saying, then people will say, what are police keeping out? That's not a reason. That's an excuse. What this really shows is that they want it both ways. The authority of private property without the responsibility of marking it. They'd rather rely on confusion to control access than take the simple step of putting up proper fencing or signage.
Do me a favour, yeah? Because we were going off to do something again.
As I was saying to your colleague,
stop and engage in challenges.
But as I was saying to your colleague, you're actually other than the sergeants, because I went to where those vehicles are over there. You're actually the first people that have actually stopped and engaged with me, and I've been stood here nearly an hour.
Then that's bad officers, because they should, okay? But look, we're busy, we're human, we make mistakes, okay? Just like everyone else. Please don't do that. But
that's like I said, a surgeon accidentally killing somebody, say, people make mistakes, we're human. There's that room for error
but
is not...
This is a conversation about someone standing on a road or a grass barrier, not me doing heart surgery. Okay?
Yeah, but the room for error isn't there in the police.
We should make errors and we should learn from our mistakes. As should everyone, okay? But that's just the way it is. Please don't willfully do that. If they do, then they might have to look at, I don't know, anything.
There's nothing they can get me. It's a civil issue, isn't it?
Because okay, well, number one, okay, right, I'll just say this. Wasting police time. So
I'm not wasting this. I'm not forcing you to stop.
Hang on. Let me just say it, and then I'm going to...
When he accused proletariat of wasting police time, it showed he had no lawful ground to stand on. So he resorted to bluffing. Wasting police time is a criminal offense under Section 5, subsection 2 of the Criminal Law Act 1967, but applies to false reports or deliberately misleading police, not someone quietly filming in public. Proletariat didn't call them, didn't make a report, and didn't obstruct an investigation. The officers chose to engage, meaning the waste was entirely on them. If officers choose to involve themselves where no law is being broken, that's on them, not the public they swore to serve.
This is for your benefit, because I don't want to see you get arrested, and I think it probably even that then further would be a waste of our time, but we will have to take an action, alright, by doing something that causes an officer to then kind of go out of the way and waste their time doing it, and would have to engage with you and say, mate, don't stand here and have another 5, 10 minute, 15 conversation with you. That's them wasting our time, okay? So there it is, it's ticking those boxes. I don't think it would come to that, but it's just something we might have to do. Please just be reasonable, film the cars, whatever, alright? Just stay where you are, yeah? Please?
Maybe.
I'll leave it at that. Dude, just don't, just be sensible.
Maybe. Can't stop with them making... Not saying.
Why?
Because I don't give it out.
Why? I'm the public, I want to watch it.
You'll find it.
I want to like and subscribe.
You'll find it.
I won't try that hard.
As the officers finally retreated back into their vehicles, the scene spoke for itself. Proletariat still standing exactly where it began, calm, composed, and unshaken. What started as an attempt to remove a man with a camera ended with a quiet, undeniable truth. They never had the authority they thought they did. This encounter perfectly captured what happens when unchecked authority collides with calm, informed resistance. From the very first moment, those sergeants came out swinging, not with reason or professionalism, but with pure force. They didn't pause to assess the situation, or even identify themselves before getting physical. Yet despite being pushed, talked down to and insulted, proletariat stayed composed. He exposed their lack of control for everyone to see. The real turning point came when he started asking for proof. Where's the boundary? Where's the law? Where's your authority? Suddenly, the confidence melted away. The plainclothes officers stumbled for explanations. The sergeants disappeared. An entire we know best act fell apart in seconds. That's the beauty of lawful resistance. It doesn't take violence or shouting, just knowledge and composure. By the end, Proletariat hadn't just stood his ground. He dismantled their whole approach to public accountability. The officers walked away embarrassed, their authority undone by their own ignorance. It was a quiet victory, but a powerful one. A reminder that the strongest stance you can take is knowing your rights better than those who try to take them from you. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me continue with my independent coverage. His channel is linked in the description. Show him some love. Thanks for watching. This was Rate the Audit, and I'll see you in the next.